This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Hey, all of it, Cholas, thank you so much for listening to the Men's Room Podcast.
And thanks to our pals at the Advocates Law Firm for being great partners. Yes, even you, creepy Kyle.
Seriously, though, if you had been injured as a result of somebody else in your car, on your bike, walking across the street, talk to our friends at the Advocates Law Firm and let them help you out.
Yeah, they're the best injury lawyers around, and they want to make sure that you're not taken advantage of. Plus, your first consultation is free.
It's simple. You get injured, the advocates get results. Contact them today at advocateslaw.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Steve at Thrill Hill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed, and today we toast an unidentified man from the Palm Springs of Washington State, Yakima.
My fave.
Yeah. Cops there, they got calls yesterday from multiple people after someone drove their SUV into a river. It was a blue Suburban near Century Landing, and deputies responded. They found the vehicle in the water at the edge of a slipway, where you normally back your boat into the water. Well, they assumed the owner lost control or something, but when they got there, they found the owner nearby. He was absolutely fine. And he explained to them that he'd recently replaced the thermostat in his Suburban, to which the deputies were like, yeah, and? Well, the owner went on to explain that he needed to fill his radiator with water. So he intentionally drove his vehicle into the water so that he could fill up the radiator. Yeah. The vehicle had to be towed out of the water. Not clear if it still runs or not. Also, most people would add, you probably want to use coolant, not water. But my line of thinking is he knew that, but said, if I pick up coolant, I have to go to the Yakima Walmart. I'd rather just drive my goddamn Suburban into the river.
But is he the one that put the thermostat in? You think that someone...
He installed it, according to him, he put it in himself. Look, you understand his final decision was to drive his Suburban into a river.
If he's smart enough to be able to put his own thermostat in, you'd think he'd know enough not to drive his truck into a river.
You would think that. And then he proves us wrong by intentionally, because even the cops are like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, why? Like, well, your car's in the river. He's like, yeah, because I put in a new thermostat. We're like, and my radiator needs water. And then when they pieced it together, like, this guy's an idiot. I don't think any charges were filed or anything, but they just towed it out, and hopefully his truck runs, and they just send him on his goddamn way. But we pour this booze, and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bichola!
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
And Steve at Thrill Hill, could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
Oh, I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Matt. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola. All right, Matt, you understand how this here game is played?
I do.
Fantastic. Then you know you have your choice of one of three stories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have Bite Me. In other words, what did someone find in their food? And finally, interior decorating, where you guess the foreign object that ended up on the inside of someone.
I thought long and hard about this. And I'm going to go interior decorating.
All right, interior decorating it is, but not in the butt like the song says, but in the penis. A 30-year-old Michigan man, he stuffed something strange into his manhood. Now he pushed him into his urethra for sexual gratification, and he was apparently hoping his body would expel them on his own, but it didn't work, and the objects got stuck. And now the embarrassment hits, and he had to go to the hospital. Now, doctors were able to remove them with a series of, quote, invasive procedures. And he was lucky to walk away with what they say minimal trauma to his manhood. I don't believe in such a thing as minimal trauma to my manhood, but I digress. Now, we hope his lesson is learned because he did tell the doctors this wasn't the first time that he'd done this, although he, quote, never attempted this many of the objects before, you see. So he'd inserted these objects before, just not this many. The question is, what are the objects that he placed into his urethra? Was it BBs, kidney beans, Tic Tacs, or Pez candies? So BBs, kidney beans, Tic Tacs, or Pez candies?
Well, see, the kidney beans, that'd be kind of hard. It's a very tiny hole to stick that much bean in. I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
I mean, size-wise, it seems like BBs would sneak in there.
Yeah.
And you were saying he's done this before.
Yeah, I mean, he told the doctors, like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm here. I've done this before. This is just the first time I've put this many in.
I think it's BBs.
Ted's going BBs.
Would that make him the BB king?
He's a pervert.
I think, Matt, don't go... Well, you know what? Maybe Tic Tacs bring on that minty goodness in the tingle. I'm going to go Tic Tacs.
Ooh,
would you still go with orange? Because that's the best Tic Tac.
I would go with the white ones. I think the minty. If I'm looking for stimulation, right. You know what I mean? Just saying, that's just me.
I think that would burn down there, but all right.
It's like masturbating with icy hot.
I'm gonna go with Ted. I'm gonna go with BBs.
There you go.
BBs. Okay. All right.
Be careful when you don't spill all over.
We're gonna find out what that guy put up there for a little sexual gratification. Was it BBs, kidney beans, Tic Tacs, or Pez candies? Next.
That was a tease.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Oh, fiddlesticks!
What, Wilbur?
We just got hit and I think my back has all been out of shape.
You gotta talk with those whippersnappers at the Advocates Law Firm. They're the best injury lawyers around.
What? Pipe down, Clarence! Abner's telling me about the lawyers and the advocates. So what happened to you, Abner?
I was walking across the street with the light when some young punk came screeching around the corner. I lost a toe.
What? Shut it, Clarence! If you get injured, the advocates get results.
AdvocatesLaw.com.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Categories: interior decorating on profile. This 30-year-old Michigan man, he inserted something in his urethra, actually a few items for sexual gratification. I guess he'd done it before, but he tried to up the number from the time before and got stuck up in there. Doctors were able to successfully remove the objects, though, from his urethra. Question is, what did he insert? BBs, kidney beans, Tic Tacs, or Pez candies?
And that is the very question that we posed to our friend Matt. Miles, we start with you. You went with Tic Tacs, which makes sense.
Got a tingle?
Yeah, a little bit of tingle. Seems like they...
Plus, if you wanted fresh breath, you got it.
Yes. However, it was not Tic Tacs. Now, Matt agreed with Ted Smith. Both went BB, said, look, let's just go with the laws of physics, man. That is the way to go. No, not BBs, not BBs. We had a few astute listeners that remember this story from either earlier this week or late last week, and they were correct. That's our version of a drum roll for interior decorating. Go ahead, play it again.
Hang on a second.
Or don't. Yeah. Turns out it was kidney beans.
Kidney beans?
Kidney beans. Any guesses how many kidney beans he stuffed into his urethra?
4.
Oh, my goodness. Higher than that.
23.
Good Lord, Ted. He's not a freak. Six kidney beans. Damn. So stop at 5.
Do you think those could hurt his actual kidneys?
If you keep stuffing them in there, yeah.
If it gets up there. Now for all TV news all the time, it's time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box,
Armageddon.
The Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
All right, your choices today. Seth Meyers. James Corden.
Ooh, James Corden.
We also have the Jimmys. Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon and Country Guy?
Country Girl. Yep.
Country Girl.
Still sitting in. Or Ted Smith.
Is it Ted or is it late night?
It is right there in the title. All these guys have teams of talented writers that help them come up with their monologues each and every night. It is up to you to determine, is this an actual late night joke and from whom? Or could it be a The Ted Smith original?
Papa John's is bringing back its extra large, extra cheese, extra pepperoni pizza called the Shack-a-Roni. It's so big, the middle of the pizza box is held up with an actual table.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, Fallon.
Yeah, it's Fallon.
Some business news. I saw that Papa John's is bringing back its extra large, extra pepperoni, and extra cheese pizza called the Shack-a-Roni. It's so big, the middle of the pizza box is held up with an actual table.
Police officers in Germany recently resuscitated a chihuahua by using CPR. Sadly, no one was willing to give mouth-to-mouth to the St. Bernard.
Ted Smith.
Ted Smith, yeah.
Seth Meyers.
Police officers in Germany recently resuscitated a chihuahua using CPR. Sadly, no one was willing to give mouth-to-mouth to the St. Bernard.
New Zealand just announced it's locking down its entire country over one COVID case. Imagine being the guy who tested positive. Thanks a lot, Kevin. You had to go to the gym, huh? Couldn't just do sit-ups at home?
Seth Meyers.
Ted Smith.
Fallon.
New Zealand just announced it's locking down the entire country over one COVID case. Imagine being that one guy who tested positive. Thanks a lot, Kevin. You just had to go to the gym, huh? Couldn't do sit-ups at home?
Tim Tebow has been cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars this week.
It's not even a joke.
Tebow, who was a Heisman winner in college playing quarterback, was trying out for tight end. His blocking was so bad that even Jesus couldn't help him out on this one.
The Ted Smith.
Seth Meyers.
That was me.
Ah, good one.
I was also thinking his blocking was so bad that even Jesus didn't have faith in it. Did you see him trying to block?
Yes. Yeah, come on.
Former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler was fired this week from an Uber Eats commercial because of his anti-mask stance. So just like a Jay Cutler pass, that gig is totally up for grabs.
The Ted Smith.
Kind of over to you, but Jimmy Fallon.
Seth Meyers.
Former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler was fired last week from an Uber Eats commercial because of his anti-mask stance. So just like a Jay Cutler pass, that gig is totally up for grabs.
Jay Cutler was never, those Bears teams were not good.
No, they're terrible.
He was good in college at Vanderbilt, but again, he made Vanderbilt decent, but I don't think they were ever, good.
And neither was he.
No.
All right. Everybody in here likes Bob Ross, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Bob Ross, everybody knows him for the joy of painting, soothing voice, the comforting afro. I have a Bob Ross shirt. People love it.
Comforting
You actually
afro.
get complimented all the time.
It is unbelievable. Even at the grocery store on Saturday, people were like something, and I was like, dude, go get one. I got it at Target. I'm dead serious.
People approach you like you have a dog.
Yeah, it's like a $12 shirt. But anyhow, apparently there's some kind of dirty secret behind the scenes that we didn't know about.
Ooh.
There's a new Netflix documentary called Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed.
Wow, I am in. Boy.
Let's see.
I will watch that.
I will watch it too in a minute.
I'm not kidding. I'm in.
I wouldn't be shocked. Right? Bob Ross, happy accidents, betrayal, and greed. Like, yeah, there's probably somebody else, and Bob Ross took the money. Mm-hmm. Like, basically, any entertainment, almost any business, you can run this over and over.
Oh, sure.
You're talking about Oprah or whatever. Like, and Oprah didn't even betray anybody. She just took the gig.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are always like, and also like that's why like it's bad to have business with family, because when money gets involved, I don't care who people are, don't trust them because they don't care. And that's the way money works, right? Mm-hmm. You know, it's like when you watch anything, like especially with like athletes, like where's the loyalty and this and that? Nobody should be any loyal than their paycheck.
You know
what I mean? Because like those guys get fired in a second
or traded.
And he was basically, his gimmick was that when he was on, he was teaching aspiring painters how to do basic techniques to follow along with the show and implement them in your own way so that you could try to figure out how to do this and better yourself. But I've never heard anybody say, or for that matter, like on auction, you know, he was in fact an artist. Now, whether you like his art or not, we know what he did. He did landscapes and all that stuff. But you've never heard of like an auction where, you know, a Bob Ross painting. Maybe it happens all the time.
We just don't know about it.
We don't know about it, but I mean, you would think that a Bob Ross painting might be valuable just based on the fact that it's Bob Ross. But it doesn't like anybody who's rich, like, yes, this is an original Bob Ross.
Right.
You know, like even art collectors. I mean, Lars, you know, you're not going to walk into his home and he's got like 3 Bob Rosses, you know.
Sadly, I'd be more impressed with that because
I would
at least
too.
I know who he is.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You're not telling me that he's awesome. And I don't know that I even like his art. It's just you kind of liked him.
You got a Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Well, it's also funny, too. I already knew this. Like, he had been in the military, and that's why he always talked that way. Because after he got out of the military, he was like, I'm not raising my voice. I'm not doing this and that. Because he basically, Bob Ross you saw was him.
Yeah.
But in the military, he had to put on a different attitude or whatever. But also, didn't he kind of paint the same picture all the time?
Pretty much.
Yeah, ocean stuff, trees. It was basically always outdoors.
But I think he just wanted to, because he knew people were watching. Like, correct. I bet you he could do better stuff, but like, you can't. So if I'm going to try to teach you, let's go with this most elementary.
On a basic level.
Right, but just going back to what you're saying, like, is there any paintings out there? I'm like, I don't even know.
You know,
he did one every show.
You know what painting got paid the most money for?
But that's what we're saying. It's the same painting all the time. So why would you pay money for that?
Well, it fits an original. You know, I'd pay the most money, sadly, and I don't know a lot about art, but there is the classic painting that everyone's had replicated of the dogs playing poker.
Yeah.
Now, if you could give me the original one, like this is because everyone had a copy of it, you know, but I've never heard of anyone who has the original one. I would think that would have to be worth money, right? Like, this is the one. It's been reproduced, but this is the one. This is it.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of like saying, like, all the posters people had for years would be worth something if you had the original?
If you had the original, sure. Right? Look, there's the poster of Farrah Fawcett from back in the day, right?
Right.
But if you said this is the actual print from which all of these posters were printed, like, to me, that's the one. That's when you'd spend decent money on. If you had the actual original painting of the dogs playing poker, sure, it's gaudy, it's tacky, but you're like, hey, the difference between mine and yours, this is the one. This is the one that gave birth to all the rest.
Wow. Okay, Bob Ross original, episode number 24, painting. $95,000.
Oh, damn.
There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So people do pay for them.
They do.
They don't talk about it much.
They don't. Well, also, I know very few people, like I know people that say they like art.
Sure.
I know very few people that actually have pieces of art that would like be at something like that.
Yeah, I mean, most people like art. All you have to do is look at something that appeals to you. That becomes art, right? Whatever the painting is. But most of us can't afford things that other people call art.
Yeah.
Like, if you made it cheap, more people would have art.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right, art's kind of like you always talk about housing prices. Like, I don't think it's worth that at all.
So you won't get the money from me.
Right, exactly. But you sit in a room and, you got, especially a guy like Mike rolls in and starts doing his auction thing. Next thing you know, you're slapping down $95,000. Mm-hmm. Mike, you ever done an art auction?
Thank heavens, no.
That's not really your speed. That's more of like, what do we have here?
Exactly. This is a classic Bob Ross painting. Someone start the bidding at $1 million. Do I have $1 million?
Okay, do I have $100?
This is an O'Keefe. We'll start the bidding at $69.
That Netflix show comes out a week from today. Bob, by the way, unfortunately died at 52.
That is young.
It is now, Steve.
Right, in 1995. Well, it was, and he had lymphoma.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
Yeah.
He was 52?
Yeah.
I guess just because he was older than me, he always just looked older than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just at the time, I was not fit. I'm 52 now, so I'll probably look at him and be like, what is up, my Afro brother? But at the time, he's just a much older guy than me.
Were you in Boston?
Well, that's the other thing, too. He had his look was a little dated.
Little bit.
I say if you can rock an Afro, go for it.
Could he rock an Afro, or did we just get used to the fact that Bob Ross?
I really think it's part of his signature look.
It is.
Like Gabe Kaplan.
Right, but could he rock it, or did he just have it? There's a lot of people that have a signature look, and it's not that they look good. It's just, we know who they are, and you associate them with that, but at no point did you think they look awesome.
Well, I think, too, sometimes growing out long hair or having facial hair, especially if you've been in the military, that's like a big deal because you can't.
Sure.
Right. Like, I have a buddy, his father, I mean, you know, I've had this friend for 14, 15 years. But as long as I've known his father, he has a mustache. So one time I asked him, I said, John, have you ever shaved it off? He's like, no. Like back in the day, I think that was like the only facial hair they could have in Vietnam or something. So he's like, I keep it to this day. So I don't know, but Bob Ross might be one of those people when he got out of the military. He's like, I can grow out my cool little fro. Like, I'm growing it out.
Also, people who do local TV news.
Man,
yeah,
like I haven't seen
David Letterman.
Yeah, I haven't seen Rabel in a while, but
you think he's got a fro?
He's probably got like a beard down to his chest. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't even recognize him walking up and down the street.
Is Rabel off news?
Brother, are you being serious right now? They had like Rabel week. They had like Rabel month. Man.
I don't watch.
They paid tribute.
I don't watch a ton of.
I bet Steve Poole shaved his mustache off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, our job is looking at so much news. Like when I get home, I don't really watch other news to hear a story I've already read about. Let's see. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Cribs is coming back to MTV. It's at 9:30 tonight. The first one is going to have Martha Stewart, Nick Young, and Jordan.
Okay.
Late night tonight, Miles, you're going to want to watch Jimmy Kimmel because, Sean Hayes is the guest host tonight, but he's going to have Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Both of them together.
Oh, yeah. They're helping guest host.
Wow. Really? Thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. You are listening to The Men's Room.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated road solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The Advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed. You get injured, the Advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's. All things summer, all at the right price.
Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. A library in Long Island has to apologize after handing out pornographic comic books to kids. Oopsie. Meanwhile, a woman hands a stranger a bottle of water, so he pulls out his pig. Yakima man drives his car in the river as his radiator needed to be filled. When you chain yourself to the top of a car for a joyride, there's a chance you might be killed. And in Scotland, protesters seize an ancient castle. Demand turkey leg as ransom. It is time for your headline.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my car.
All right, top story. We got a Long Island where a local library is in hot water for giving away comic books. The books were put into a free giveaway bag and handed out to kids to celebrate Comic Book Day. But they soon got phone calls from a number of parents that looked at the material of the comic book It was titled Tales of a Grown-Up Nothing, and the cover featured a young girl skateboarding. Nothing all that bad there. But once the pages were opened, readers were greeted by pornographic content featuring several naked characters in interesting positions, complete with one woman using a sex toy.
Uh-oh.
The library has apologized for the comic slipping through the cracks. Hey-oh.
Yeah, I guess this is an annual event.
Right.
All right.
Just comic book day.
And they reach out as Diamond Comics, and Diamond Comics is aware of this event. And usually, what Diamond Comics does, according to the library, is they'll set up, look, we have mature, we have this, we have that, we have that. Just give us the titles that fall into each of these categories. You hand out the bags appropriately, and I guess they slipped up and put some of their mature ones in with the not so mature audience stuff. So
sure.
They don't know, man. They just stuffed them in the bags, handed them to kids. The kids were happy. The parents mad.
Well, some of the parents are mad.
Some of them like,
you shouldn't be reading this. I'm going to put this away in my closet so you never read this again.
Dad, what you doing? Nothing.
Comics will rot your brain. In other news, let's go to Detroit, where the new Jackass movie appears to already have started filming. A motorist caught the stuntman on video flying down the freeway at 85 miles an hour while chained in a standing position on top of a Cadillac SUV.
Damn.
85 miles an hour. This guy's got chains on him up there. He said the daredevil did have to dodge a few hazards during the stunt and even needed to duck under a bridge, fearing for his safety the entire time, but shrugged his shoulders, saying it was almost par for the course on Detroit highways.
If you stand on top of a moving vehicle.
For real.
Not sure that's par for the course anywhere.
No. But it didn't faze him much. He said, no, this is probably in my top 5 of weird things that I've seen, but you see a lot of weird stuff out on these roadways.
Okay.
Like,
Detroit, you do you.
I mean, if you get a chance, check out the video. It's actually quite impressive that this guy's able to hold up here.
Yeah, because he's standing completely upright.
Right.
It's not like he's squatting down. I mean, dude is standing up.
And again, this guy's got to duck down under bridges and stuff going 85 miles an hour. When's the last time you gauged how fast something's coming at you at 85 miles an hour?
My thing is the guy driving the Escalade. Because if you say, dude, I got an idea. Like, Mike, I'm not going to drive for you.
Right.
Like, no.
I drive you, Mike.
Thank you, Ted.
Yeah, I got you.
But Ted does the speed limit. There's this man going at 40 miles an hour and stopping at each light.
That's okay. I don't need to go above the speed limit, man. This isn't okay. You know what? It bears repeating. We go to Yakima, Washington, where they're coming back strong once again. Officers responded to a call about an SUV that was stuck in the Yakima River. What they found when they got to the scene was indeed an SUV dipped into the river, but the driver said that he did it intentionally. He said that he recently changed the thermostat in his vehicle and needed to fill the radiator with water, and what better place than the river?
What better place?
This car was eventually towed out.
Like I said, it was that or go to the Yakima Walmart for cooling.
You think when he figured out he couldn't start the car back up, then maybe he messed up.
Right.
Yeah, hope.
But Miles, I thought you made a great point. This guy is smart enough to change the thermostat in his frickin' car, but he can't figure out that diving face first into the river with his car is gonna, shut the thing down.
Seems to me like he's done it before successfully. That's the only thing I can think of.
Because he had a real cool vibe about the whole thing, talking to the cops. Like, yeah, I just drove into the river.
No worries.
Yeah, man.
It's cool.
Maybe he doesn't know that much about cars and just watched a YouTube tutorial.
That's fair enough.
You know how to put that thermometer in.
Well, then YouTube needs to add a disclaimer. Do not follow this up by driving it into a body of water.
Grab a bottle of water, man. Come on. Strange story out of Ohio. A woman noticed a man sitting in a parked car on the side of the street wearing a thick sweater. This one's awful. Fearing for his health, she offered to give the man a bottle of water to keep him cool. It was hot outside. It was a bit of a scorcher out there. Guy needs some water. He accepted and followed her to the garage. After getting the bottle of water, the man thanked her by exposing his genitals.
Thanks for the water. Here's my penis.
Look at him.
Yeah.
When asked why he exposed himself, he merely left. Police are looking for any information on the guy.
Come on.
Why'd you show your penis?
There it is.
I'll give you a bottle of water.
You show her your penis.
Because your dumb ass is sitting there in a hefty sweater in the middle of a freaking heat wave. Maybe you could skip her on the flash train, huh?
I trade you some penis for some water. Yeah, that's right, Mama.
A man in Ontario is on the hook for doing what a lot of us would. He had rented a Lamborghini and decided to test ride it out a little bit and do some stunt driving. Unfortunately, he was caught by police in the act, and the penalty for stunt driving is a 14-day impound. This sadly caused him not to be able to return the car, landing him $18,000 in charges from the rental company.
Damn.
Isn't that just a matter of, who's going to get caught. You rented a Lamborghini. You're going to rag it out.
Yes.
And there's your headlines with that. Mike Hawkins out.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time for the game known as Big Dummy. The head chef is back. We'll see you with more Men's Room coming up. And now with a Men's Room Happy Hour exclusively on the Odyssey app.
That's right. In the meantime, we'll be all about this bitch for 90 seconds. So until then, do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network.
Oh, man!
A Double Flush production.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.